Well, our lead story tonight is a major step for India's private space programs and that sector. This after reforms announced 2 years ago. Take a look at India's first privately made rocket's launch.
And we have a successful
It was a textbook launch as Vikram-S, India's first privately built 18-foot-high demonstration rocket, put 3 payloads in the suborbital space at an altitude of 85 kilometers, lifting off from Sriharikota. A project of Skyroot Aerospace, a Hyderabad-based startup by 2 IITians, the core part of the vehicle was made of carbon fiber, a first for India. It had first of its kind 3D printed engines, besides other cutting-edge technology.
Advanced technologies like 3D printing. In fact, it has 4 3D printed engines which give the spin for the rocket, and then it has several avionics which is miniaturized next generation cutting edge technologies.
Skyroot has already raised 526 crore rupees funding. The launch cost is cheaper than the US or Europe. With plans for a series of mega commercial launches scaling 500 kilometer altitude, it aims to make satellite launches as simple as booking a cab.
It's more about value creation in this industry than valuations. This capability proving will, of course, make us stand steadfast in our capability and be able to express to the investor community that raise more funds.
The government says around 150 startups, including ISRO vendors, now want to get into building of rockets, satellites and ground stations. It denies private entry would slow down ISRO.
So no one should ever think that ISRO's role in space sector will diminish.
Sky is not the limit. That's the promise India gives as it opens up its space program for private players. Even as this would unravel a world of possibilities, the big challenge for ISRO in the long run would be to stay relevant and competitive. At Sriharikota with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
Well, moving to other big headline, a major anti-terror financing meet with representatives of countries across the world held in New Delhi, India. It's called No Money for Terror. And the Prime Minister today made the point with references, indirect references to both Pakistan and China that there must be costs for countries that support terror. The Home Minister Amit Shah, also speaking at this conference, said that terror has no religion or nationality.
The Prime Minister targeting those countries who harbour and support terrorism, even indirectly, calling this a proxy war. The obvious targets, Pakistan and China, had sent no representatives for this, an Interpol meeting against financing terrorism.
All terrorist attacks deserve equal outrage and action. Further, sometimes there are indirect arguments made in support of terrorism to block action against terrorists. There is no place for an ambiguous approach while dealing with a global threat. Proxy wars are also dangerous and violent. There must be a cost imposed upon countries that support terrorism.
Recently, China used its veto at the UN to block efforts to declare Pakistani terror leaders Hafiz Talha Saeed and earlier Masood Azhar as global terrorists. Hafiz Saeed is the mastermind of the 26/11 Mumbai attack and Masood Azhar of the 2001 Parliament attack. Lately, the opposition has been targeting Prime Minister Modi, alleging he has been soft on China. At the Interpol ministerial meeting, Home Minister Amit Shah equated terror organizations like the Lashkar and Jaish to the Al-Qaeda, even the ISIS, and said that they all work in tandem. However, significantly, he says that terrorism cannot be linked to any religion or nationality.
भारत टेररिज्म के सभी रूपों और प्रकारों की घोर निंदा करता है। हम सभी मानते हैं कि टेररिज्म का खतरा किसी धर्म, राष्ट्रीयता या किसी समूह से जुड़ा नहीं हो सकता।
India is using its own security lens to highlight issues of how it has been a victim of terror before the world. Issues like darknet being used for crowdfunding is also being discussed in this meeting. In New Delhi, with camera person Ashok Mahale, this is Neeta Sharma reporting for NDTV.
Our next big headline, well, the controversy over Rahul Gandhi's remarks on Savarkar's letter to the British, which he had at a press conference, has led to a major backlash from a key ally. Sena MP Sanjay Raut has threatened an impact on the alliance, which another MP, Arvind Sawant, has echoed. The Congress's Jairam Ramesh said he's spoken to them and they've agreed to disagree, but local leaders are unhappy.
The Thackeray-Shiv Sena Congress alliance and the recent bonhomie seems to be on the brink of a breakup over Rahul Gandhi calling VD Savarkar, a Hindutva icon for the Sena, a servant of the British.
Sir, मैं आपका नौकर रहना चाहता हूं. ये मैंने नहीं लिखा, ये सावरकर जी ने लिखा है.
वीर सावरकर के बारे में इस प्रकार की जो टिप्पणी की हम उसका समर्थन नहीं करेंगे. और अगर ये कोई भारत जोड़ो यात्रा का एजेंडा नहीं था ना, के बाद आज बहुत से बड़े कांग्रेस नेताओं के साथ हमारी बातचीत हो गई, हमें वहां से भी फोन आ गए, लेकिन हमें मंजूर नहीं है.
जो भूमिका सावरकर जी के बारे में है और जो भूमिका जो कुछ बयान चल रहे उस पे है, तो राउत साहब ने और कल उद्धव साहब ने रखी है आपके सामने.
Another MP spelled out the threat.
In the morning, and the Honorable Sanjay Raut ji has made a statement about this. We may not continue in the MVA. He has said it like this. That's a serious reaction from the party. What more you want done?
However, while the Congress played down the threat to the alliance, the Thackeray Sena attacked the BJP Shinde Sena ruling alliance.
He refuted the impression given that this issue will weaken the MVA. He said it's got nothing to do with the MVA. These are his views. These are the views of his leader. Fine. Our party has a different view, our party has a different perspective.
After Thursday, demonstrations were held against Rahul Gandhi at many places in the state on Friday as well. And Maharashtra Navnirman Sena also opened a front against Rahul Gandhi.
Rahul ji, आपने जो बात बोला, देश आपका ऊपर प्रतिशोध लेगा.
When Aditya Thackeray walked with Rahul Gandhi in the Bharat Jodo Yatra, it seemed like the closeness between these two parties are increasing. But now they have locked horns on the issue of Savarkar. It's been a while when Eknath Shinde's faction of Shiv Sena and BJP have been claiming that Uddhav Thackeray has forgotten about Hindutva, and that's the reason why we see harsh reaction from Uddhav Thackeray, Sanjay Raut as well as other leaders of his faction of Shiv Sena. In Mumbai, with camera person Rajendra Dayalkar, Sohit Mishra, NDTV.
Let's go across to Sohit Mishra for the latest. Now, Sohit, you've been speaking to various leaders. What are they saying? And also now, Devendra Fadnavis has tweeted a letter of Mahatma Gandhi, where he's using similar language as those of Savarkar's letter, which Rahul Gandhi had put up. Why did Rahul Gandhi choose to focus on this letter in his Maharashtra leg of his yatra, where he knows that his allies actually don't agree with this view?
Well, Sonia, first, yes, Devendra Fadnavis did tweet and he in fact tagged Rahul Gandhi while speaking about Mahatma Gandhi's letter. He said that at that time letters were written in a similar fashion. On the other hand, if I talk about the politics in Maharashtra, now after the statement made by Rahul Gandhi, the one party or the people who are suffering the most is the Uddhav Thackeray faction of Shiv Sena, because they have always been praising Savarkar, and at the same time they have been accused that after forming an alliance with the MVA, they have forgotten about Hindutva and they are just in power, with the Congress and NCP for power. And because of the statement made by Rahul Gandhi, once again we saw Uddhav Thackeray being questioned about it, because Aditya Thackeray walked in the yatra. Well, today was a public meeting of Rahul Gandhi. Today, interestingly, he did not speak about Savarkar, but yesterday we saw in a press conference he presented
and in fact,
a letter.
I think in response to that, the Congress is tweeting pictures of the huge crowds to try to say that they moved on. But on the ground, when you're speaking to both local Congress leaders and Uddhav Sena leaders, is this controversy gone away? Is the alliance strong? Or what is the impact of it, you think, as the Congress has shown pictures of a huge rally, of huge crowds at Rahul Gandhi's rally?
absolutely huge rally in Shegaon where Rahul Gandhi addressed a meeting. Congress is trying to show that now they have moved forward. That is exactly what Jairam Ramesh tried to say as well. But on ground, Shiv Sena leaders of the Uddhav Thackeray faction are unhappy because they are the ones who will be bearing, who are being asked questions. There is the BMC elections coming in the next few months. And just before that, if this has happened, this will not only impact the Shiv Sena, it will also impact the local Congress leaders in Maharashtra because Savarkar is a huge issue. I am right now in Dadar. There is a Savarkar memorial just 200 to 300 meters away from here, right opposite to the Balasaheb Thackeray memorial. So this is how the politics has been in Maharashtra. So it will impact both the parties. And that's why, just to make clear that the Thackeray faction is still following the Hindutva and still believes in Savarkar. Harsh statement was made by first Sanjay Raut today while he spoke exclusively to NDTV and later by Arvind Sawant as well, just to make it clear that they won't be tolerating these things if Congress wants to be in alliance with Shiv Sena in the Mahavikas Aghadi alliance so that they have formed.
That's an important point you're making, that Rahul Gandhi didn't mention this at all in today's press conference. Thanks, Sohit, for that update. But other news coming out of Bombay, from the Bombay High Court. Arvind joins me now. So, Arvind, two important court cases today. One, the High Court in Bombay giving bail to Anand Teltumbde, but again giving a week's stay so that it can be appealed in the Supreme Court, and heated arguments in the Supreme Court over Gautam Navlakha being allowed house arrest and being released from jail. So what's the quick updates on both of those?
Yeah, Sonia, the Bombay High Court has granted bail to Anand Teltumbde, who is also an accused in the Bhima Koregaon case under the stringent anti-terror law, who was arrested by the NIA, National Investigation Agency. Though the Bombay High Court has granted bail to Anand Teltumbde, now the Bombay High Court has also stayed the operation of this order for 1 week because the NIA had requested the Bombay High Court to stay the operation of this order so that they can challenge the order before the Supreme Court. That's not the only case in connection with this Bhima Koregaon matter. Even in Supreme Court today, both NIA and also Gautam Navlakha, who is also a co-accused in this particular Bhima Koregaon case, both of them had moved Supreme Court, though Gautam Navlakha told the Supreme Court that though earlier the Supreme Court had allowed house arrest for him on grounds of medical issues, the NIA did not comply with the order, and that was a grievance of Gautam Navlakha before Supreme Court. But whereas NIA had told the Supreme Court that this very order of Supreme Court granting house arrest to Gautam Navlakha was given based on a suppressed facts, misleading facts, and that's why they wanted the Supreme Court to recall this order. So but the Supreme Court made it very clear that they are not going to withdraw the order, they are not going to recall the order, but they have enhanced the surveillance and safeguards for the house arrest, and they have asked the NIA to comply with the order within 24 hours. So
a very sharp back and forth there between the Supreme Court and the Solicitor General as well. So let's see what happens in that case also of Anand Teltumbde and the appeal in the Supreme Court. But also now let's go across to a murder so shocking that the whole of India is actually following the latest twists and turns in the case. But here's the most disturbing part. New details coming out of Vedant has that Shraddha was actually being abused, physically beaten by Aftab even 2 years ago. Vedant, what are the details we have?
Well, absolutely, Sonia. As we've been reporting for the past 2 years, in fact, she was trapped in an abusive relationship. And today, WhatsApp chats, absolutely, gut-wrenching WhatsApp chats, in fact, have surfaced where we're seeing, Shraddha, in fact, actually calling for help. She reached out to her friends. She, in fact, said that, I want him to move out. She's absolutely giving details about how, she was bearing that violence and bearing that torture for 2 long years. In fact, 2 important things in the chats as well. She also talks about reaching out to the police. She told her manager that she won't be able to come to work because she wanted to reach out to the police. The second important, detail piece of information that we can get out of this chat is the fact that, she in fact also reached out to Women's Commission. And the fact is that she shared pictures of her being beaten up. We saw her sharing those bruised pictures with her managers. So in fact, really, it was not just one night or one day that it happened and it escalated into her murder. In fact, it was actually, 2 years of an abusive relationship and that torture that she had to bear, really. And this comes at a day, on a day when medical reports, really, of, her being tortured and beaten up also coming up. She, in fact, also went to a doctor, went to a hospital back in 2020. She was admitted for 3 days. The doctor also saying that all these are signs and indications of a physical fight. So these chats, really revealing the fact that it was an abusive and torturous relationship that she was in for 2 years, Sonia.
So just look at that photograph. I'd just like us to just focus on this photograph. And this is a young woman, educated, a woman reaching out to a manager for help, but yet she stayed in this relationship, and that decision really proved to be fatal. This was in 2020. The photographs from a Mumbai hospital where she came with bruises on her face, but those bruises were actually the least of it, because as the doctor told NDTV, she had much more severe internal injuries.
Two crucial pieces of evidence unearthed in the investigation of the gruesome Shraddha murder case. Bruised cheeks, cuts on her face and swollen eyes. Images of 26-year-old Shraddha Valkar from 2020, nearly 2 years before she was murdered brutally by live-in partner Aftab Poonawalla. Medical reports from December 2020, when she had to be admitted to a local hospital in Mumbai for severe back pain and neck injuries, show signs of her being beaten up.
नहीं, जब ऐसा शक लगे कि ये असॉल्ट है, ट्रॉमा है, लेकिन पेशेंट को ऐसे एक्सटर्नल इंजरीज नहीं थे, और जब तक पेशेंट हिस्ट्री नहीं देता है कि कुछ असॉल्ट हुआ है, तो फिर अननेसेसरी हम ऐसा नहीं करें. तो किसी ब्लंट ऑब्जेक्ट से नहीं मिला था, पेशेंट को अर्ली स्पॉन्डिलाइसिस जैसे सिम्टम्स मिले थे.
To further prove that Shraddha was trapped in an abusive relationship, Shraddha's chats with her friends from November 2020 have now emerged. In these chats, Shraddha's helplessness is evident. She can be seen telling her friends that she is low on energy after the beating. She's also talking about approaching the police and the Women's Commission with complaints of violence and abuse. In one of the screenshots of the chats between Shraddha and her manager, she's seen sharing her picture to prove she's unwell and cannot go to work. Shraddha's friends have gone on record to say that she confided in them about the torture and abuse that she had to bear.
वो बोलती है मेरे जान को खतरा है, मेरे को मार देगा, मेरे जान को खतरा है, मेरे को मार देगा. तो भी वो बोले ऐसा ठीक है, तो हम लोग पुलिस बोलते हैं भाई करने के लिए. वो इस बात के लिए भी वो डर रही थी. एक्चुअली क्या है, कोई अंदर से बहुत डर था, पर वो एक्चुअली खुल के बात नहीं कर रही थी हम लोग, और वो कम से कम वो डिप्रेशन में थे एक्चुअली ज्यादा कर.
Meanwhile in Delhi, the police ramped up the investigation after getting 5 more days of Aftab's custody. Near a call center in Gurugram, where Aftab last worked, the Delhi police recovered, among other evidence, a heavy polythene bag, which has raised more suspicions after Aftab has confessed that he had disposed Shraddha's body parts in as many as 18 polythene bags. Today, Aftab Poonawalla also gave his consent to the narco test. The police hope that crucial information will be revealed in this narco test. The coming 5 days are going to be crucial as far as the investigation of this case that has sent shockwaves across the nation is concerned. With Sunil Singh in Mumbai, Vedant Agarwal for NDTV.
A stark warning there for any young woman. Don't tolerate any kind of domestic abuse. It can only get worse. Moving on now with details out of a draft digital personal data protection bill. It's been put out by the government. The big headline is that hefty penalties have been proposed for non-compliance by digital firms using personal data of users. In fact, the penalties are from 10,000 rupees to 250 crores on firms and personnel handling personal data of digital users. The highest fine is 250 crores for failure to prevent personal data breach. Also, up to 200 crores for failure to notify the Centre's board about data breach, and up to 200 crores for failures on safeguarding personal data of children.